Okay, this is just a little rough draft recording, and that's why you don't see any view. And I wanted to update something that is going on in this hypothetical fictional situations, this fictional stories, dramas, a series about Richardson County, Texas. Okay, now Texas is real, the rest is not. Anyway, unless otherwise noted. Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit. It says, shortly after the news in early 2020, the members, this is the members of the Computer Geeks, the original ones going back 40, give or take, years. And they decided that they own and operate the counties, just for the county, the social media website, which has videos, forums, and so on, advertisement, whatever for the county, and in it, there's only one area, one town that is not allowed for the residents, or not allowed to join, and that is, it's actually called, the town's called the Outlaws, and basically they are rough people. Bad people overall, not everyone, of course, and also some of the members that they had kicked out over the years, many of them went to live in the town called the Outlaws, so they don't allow them to have access to the virtual county, because they're already trying to cause problems, and even have hinted at threats to members, the old members, and their children, which they call themselves the 2.0s, and their children, which call themselves iGen. Okay, just the groups. Now, the people who run it are basically the old original group. And they have decided that after what they heard in early 2020, they decided that they're going to open up a whole section that is going to be open to those living in the Outlaws. Now, the Outlaws, the Outcasts, the ones they outcast, they already have their own little social media for them, but it's not much. But anyway, they wanted, after what they heard in 2020, they wanted to open it up for various reasons, including trying to get more information on what are the Outlaws and the Outcasts planning. There were threats, like I said, hints at threats. And they want to open that up, so then they have more access to who's doing what and saying what. Now, as it is right now, many of them from the Outlaws and the Outcasts, they had married into members of the rest of the county. It's like they suddenly started doing this, and then they have access because they're married to someone who does. And there's suspicion that they were giving it to other people, to use their accounts. And so that they had to come up with a plan. They had to come up with something to, if they were going to do this for various reasons, they would have to come up with a plan. Besides the programming to keep them out of the rest of it and all that, would take a long while, but they decided they would work on it 24/7. Okay, they have enough members and former members, and they have enough members who can do that, especially since most of them were moving back into the county because of what they heard, starting in early 2020, the year 2020. So many of them were moving back home, so they had access, and they were they're very wealthy. They helped one another in businesses. So it's very wealthy already, so they would be paid for that, and many wanted jobs when they came back, something to do. Many of them were already wealthy, but they want something to do to keep them busy. They don't believe in just slacking, slacking off all the time. So, okay. So programming, it wasn't going to be a big issue. They could work on it. But what they wanted to do first, their plan they came up with, was that they would they would have everybody who already has access. That would be people that do not live in the town called the Outlaws with the Outcasts and all that. They would be people who had who were in the rest of the county. They would have them come in after a 3 months rolling lockdown situation. They would have them come in to any grocery store in that county that, besides that one town, and they would have with them their ID. They have a photo ID with their address on it. You know, it could be like a driver's license, and they would come in, and to verify who they are, you know, that they are the ones who have this, in, you know, which account or accounts they have, and and they would have to sign a contract. You know, think of basically terms of service, conduct, you know, this kind of thing. And they would have, you know, each grocery store, you know, it'd be a customer service area, but each one would have like an outline of what is not allowed, you know, what you can and can't do kind of thing, but mainly what you can't do. You know, like certain kinds of behavior they don't believe in having people who have, you know, very offensive language or threatening, or, you know, these kinds of things. And so they would have to come in with their ID. That would reduce quite a bit of you know, people using the fake accounts already. Reduce that, because if they're not going to show up with a, you know, an address, a driver's license, if they live in the Outlaws. So, you know, to verify that they've been using a fake account. So anyway, so they had this all planned out, and they, you know, it takes during those 3 months of the rolling lockdowns, the people who are working on it, you know, go ahead and get it all safe and all that, you know, safety and security, and get it all programmed and everything. And they had already started some of this before then, because what they're doing is they're setting up places where people can advertise. People can, mainly they're concerned about the forums, but also the videos. People can put up videos, and they will have to pay for the service. They will have to pay for the ads, and you know, a monthly fee. It's not going to be huge, but you know, just a regular kind of thing. And you know, they want to do that, so they've already been putting up some of it, you know, that they were going to add on to what they already have. But then they decided to use that, you know, space and perhaps more as it grows for this purpose. And it's, you know, they're very wealthy, and it's affecting a lot of other residents of the county. It's a very wealthy county, except for that one area, okay, mainly. Anyway, so they're going ahead and set that up so they can, you know, find, you know, everybody is told that they must not use their real name on their account. They need to have a pseudonym, is what they call it, a pseudonym, a PSE. I remember that myself when first all started out back in the 1990s. Well, 1990. People just call them PSEs, pseudonyms. So that way, you know, they didn't want anybody to show their own face. You know, that way it would keep down any kind of, you know, people threatening other people and harassing other people. And given what was going on in the county, you know, other things with all these threats and all these, you know, indirect threats, yeah, they didn't want anybody to have their real name and their, you know, like I said, their photo, their picture, their video with them on it. The businesses were a different story, but yeah, you know, the ads. But overall, you know, but still the people who, when they signed the contract, they signed their real name, but then they would put on there what would be their pseudonym, their PSE. Okay, but of course they, you know, the people that run it would know. Okay. Okay, I think I misspoke. After the rolling lockdowns, they had 3 months. The people who were already supposed to have accounts, they had 3 months to go into the grocery store. You know, people were going into the grocery stores and, you know, give them their ID and sign the contracts and all that. They had 3 months. Well, after that 3 months, that is when, you know, now if they didn't do it, their accounts, any accounts that didn't have a photo ID attached, you know, verified that's the person, and the contract, those would be locked. Those would be locked. Okay, until somebody did come and claim them. Okay, otherwise they just remain locked, and no, they can't access them. But now at that point, after the 3 months that they were, you know, the other ones were, all of them were given that, they did decide that's when they were going to announce, and they did announce that of opening up those other areas and to the people who lived in all of the county, including the Outlaws and the Outcasts, you know, that town, the Outlaws. So you can bet they jumped on it quickly. And now they had already had their other, members verified. So, it wasn't all that much, on them. But they had people there in the grocery stores ready to do it. Okay, sorry, there was a little bit of lawn service noise behind me, so I had to cut it off. But anyway, now, so, many of the people from the Outlaws, including some of the Outcasts, like I just said, jumped on it, the chance to become part of the, it's called Virtual County, VC, Virtual County social media platform. So they jumped on it, and they, like I said, they all pay the dues. Now these dues are going to be put totally back into the system, because they're going to be having people who monitor it, monitor like the forums, and monitor all of it, and they would need to be paid. So that's just, like I said, they're very wealthy. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but the advertisements and all that will help out to, pay many people to monitor activity, and, delete, and if need be, send it to the sheriff or the police department. And there's another group, Jim's, it's called the enforcement. He basically has trained both of those and other people, even worldwide, for things like security, investigations, and so forth. And so his group, they just call it the enforcement in the county. So they would all be monitoring this, and various people, including like some of the forums would be monitored, moderated. Administrators and such would be students at the only university in the county, and in the, like, anything that involved mental health would be monitored by people who are working on their degrees in psychology, or just plain counseling, and just, anybody who is in that field. And then they would be graded for it. It would be part of their, it would be on their syllabi, and and they know that they would be given course credit for it, and then from there they would moderate it, and then any healthcare professional in the county would also, be assisting, and if any questions come up, rise, they would be there to moderate it. So, but anyway, their intention was to keep out any kind of misinformation, anybody just faking it, whatever how-tos, like they would have forums, message boards, forums on various topics like relationships, or how-tos, and like different kinds of things, like religious discussions, different kinds of debates. They wanted to keep anything political off. No political discussions. Okay, so they don't influence. There's no influence there. And anything like, if anybody tried, immediately, they would be warned. Do it again, you lose your account. Period. So that was it, once. And you try it again, out, period. So anyway, they also opened up new contests. They had been working with the radio station, the only radio station that's for Victorson County. They were working with them. They had various contests, like people who did, people who wrote short stories, or people who did paintings, or people who did, any kind of like how-tos. Many of them. And, like they do woodwork, whatever. They people suggest, and then they have, contests and stuff, and who won, got this or that, like a free advertising for however long was the contest on, the radio station, or on, Virtual County. So it allowed that to open up, including those that had previously not been allowed. Okay. And let me see what else. I had written some notes here, and let me check them all over. I think I've mentioned everything, and, including like they will be paying for their advertisement unless they win, free. But in the past, they had not had anybody pay for their advertisement. But now, given that the whole county has decided to lock down, and they need the cash flow, in and out and everything for the various issues. That's not the only one. There were more than one. Besides what started early 2020, and then those hinted threats to various members of the original group and their descendants. So there were other issues. Anyway, I wanted to give an update on that. And also there is one other update, and I might have to mention this in another one, but in this storyline, I have said that the county is pretty much secluded from other counties. The closest place is 2 hours from the northernmost part, and that's the big city. Well, there is also one very, very small county and very few residents, and it's south of Summertime, Texas. And it's just south of that, and that's part of the story I've already mentioned in one video. If I put that one first before this one, I don't know. But it's important to know that that is not part of the county, south of there. But it has its own little tiny county, and they're working with that. But I'll put that up as a video, like mutual benefit. Anyway, that's enough for this for now. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.